A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Whether it's a movie night or just midday, Skinny Pop is a salty snack that keeps on giving. Made with just 3 simple ingredients for an irresistibly delicious taste and a large serving size that lasts. Deliciously popped, perfectly salted. Skinny Pop, popular for a reason. Shop Skinny Pop now.
The Jack Welch Management Institute at Strayer University helps you go from, I know the way, to I've arrived with our top 10 ranked online MBA. Gain skills you can learn today and apply tomorrow. Get ready to go from make it happen to made it happen and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu/Jack Welch MBA to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Birds of the Round Table. The Eagles 53-man roster is here. We're talking everything depth chart, and we're also going to compare the Eagles 2024 53-man roster to the 2025 53-man roster. Which squad did it better? Joining us, David at PHL Eagle News. What's good, David?
We got good stuff to talk about. A 53-man roster. Next week, we'll be talking about a game that'll happen 2 days after the show. It's insane. It's here after a very, very short offseason.
It's heaven into these years. Joining us, Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. Long time no see, brother.
Yeah, right. It's been a while. Listen, we knew this day would be kind of a fun day to see what players ended up making the squad. And it wasn't exactly chalk as we all thought it would happen, but interesting things and interesting names to discuss going forward.
As always, guys, if you're watching us live, please be sure to comment your reaction to the Eagles 53-man roster. If you comment during the show, we will put your comment, as long as it's appropriate, most of the time, on screen, and we'll react. But let's jump right in to the Eagles 53-man roster. Thank you, Anthony DeBona of the Philly Special Show. Nobody does it better than Anthony DeBona and Josh Davis. But quarterback, Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee, and Sam Howell. Initial takes. David.
Yeah, it's great. Are we voting from this year or last year yet? No,
we're not doing that yet. We'll do that after this. Just real quick takes.
I really like it. I'm really happy with the Howell over McCord move, especially with the knowledge that McKee has a fractured thumb or hand. You just could not go into that game with McCord as a potential one play away from having to win you a game on Thursday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
Yeah, listen, the Sam Howell trade was certainly not something that anybody really saw coming, but now we know that we got 3 quarterbacks that can play an NFL game, and I think we'd all be okay with that.
Yeah, that's my take too. We have Chirac saying, "Evening, guys, catching up as always." Marshawn, what's going on, Marshawn? Ryan wants to talk about the Kelsey Swift engagement.
Of course,
We're not talking about that. Absolutely not. But I love this. We'll see how Tanner is doing. I don't. Is there an update on his injury?
Mild.
Yeah,
Wow,
I just hear he might be out a few weeks.
A week. Yeah.
Oh, that's great to hear. But love this group, and we'll break it down in just a little bit more once we compare this to 2024. Running back Saquon Barkley, Will Shipley, AJ Dillon. Really happy AJ Dillon made the roster. I am excited to see what he's got, especially in passing situations, especially picking up blitzes, especially running and moving those chains. I think there's a chance AJ Dillon eventually gets more snaps and touches than Will Shipley going forward. Ryan, any thoughts on the running back group?
Yeah, I think this was the only one position that felt like this was, what was going to be the whole time. There wasn't anybody else that was really, a threat. It was just more or less of how many people they would take. And glad to see that AJ Dillon did enough and while he's learning this offense. And, again, Will Shipley is showing improvement year over year. So that's what you want to say.
David?
Agreed. Everything, like, you can go light at this position. It was as predictable as Ryan said. These 3 were going to make it all the way back from June. So,
and then my wild card, Ben Van Sumeren at fullback. He is the most underrated chess piece of this offense. Absolutely lit it up in very short opportunities in 2024. Shut up, Brian. I can't wait to see him lead block for Saquon for another 60-yard touchdown.
Sure. Hey, listen, I'll take it. But the question I want to know is what jersey should I get first? BVS or Tanner McKee jersey for you?
BVS.
BVS is going to be a fan favorite. If he truly gets the opportunity, not just as a blocker, but as a receiver and things like that, I think I firmly believe like he's got underrated potential and upside in this offense. He's one of the few that can really take this offense to the next level.
Okay.
We have J-Rock saying, "We all insist that Dillon's going to be over Shipley. I get it. If you're making the calls, probably team is clearly sold on Ship." I agree. I think Shipley's going to get every benefit of the doubt, and he should. But I do think eventually AJ Dillon will be the guy. That's just my take. Any other takes on on like snaps and touches between those two?
No, I think it'll be situational, obviously. Obviously one's a more of a bruiser, straightforward kind of runner. One is, a smaller, shiftier kind of guy. So, oh, wow. Yeah. Honestly, this was what I was more worried about in the chat. How was it pronounced? Is it Jay or Ja? Now we know.
Let's roll on to wide receiver. I'm so happy the Eagles made the right decision here. I thought the Eagles truly loved Aniyah Smith, and he was a surprise cut. You got A.J. Brown, Devontae, Jahan, John Mechie, of course, but Darius Cooper has so much upside. I cannot wait to see him get more opportunity, and I'm really excited for this group. David?
Yeah, these are the 5 I projected, so I'm really happy that it went that way. And I base that projection on the evolution of Howie Roseman. If this was years ago, and this is year 2 of a draft pick like JJ or Stego Whiteside, he's still on this roster. And the reason is because Howie had to prove that his pick was going to make it. Yeah. And he's moved on from that. Aniyah Smith wasn't what they wanted. They moved on to a UDFA and Darius Cooper. And ultimately, that's the right decision. They have 5 guys who can play football if somebody gets hurt, that can step up for A.J. Brown, can step up for Devontae Smith. This is the best 5 that they had on the team, and it's nice to see that they're actually rewarding that now.
It's really exciting too, because that was kind of a concern. Like, you go back, and we will go back, 12 months ago, and there was a concern about developing wide receivers down the line, and they've got a couple interesting ones. I know Mechie is still on a 1-year contract. Like, he's still
he has 1 year left on his rookie.
He's gonna be cheap, but
Yeah.
Ryan, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. You go back a year, and right before the Jahan Dotson trade, who the heck did we have outside of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? No one.
The Greg Ward disrespect will not be accepted.
Well, listen.
Absolutely not.
Listen, you already know that I think he's the best undrafted free agent in the Howie Roseman era. But I will say there wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot to hang your head on. Now you look back a year later, you have Dotson, who's still figuring out his place, but you can see the skill is there. You have somebody like Mechie coming off of a highly touted school in Alabama, knows Hurts, knows Smith, and Cooper, this kid who came out of nowhere but has shown heart, determination, and looks like he could be the real deal.
J-Rock says on Anaya Smith, so glad they moved on and made the right choice. I do worry about PR. I don't know what that means.
Punt return.
Yeah.
Love Greg Ward. Anybody that watches this show or Party on Broad knows that I was the biggest Greg Ward homer ever, period. All right. Right up there with Ryan and Kenny Pickett. But anyway, let's move on to tight end and talk Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, Kylan Granson getting the third tight end spot. Not a real surprise. I do worry about run blocking just a little bit. Ryan, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think once we made the trade for trade away for Harrison Bryant, who by the way got cut. It was clearly Kylan Granson, and it was more of a question of whether or not they would save that third tight end maybe for another position to add more depth. But he's shown enough, I guess. But again, hopefully he's a guy that honestly won't ever see the field. So,
David.
Yeah, I mean, if you're keeping 3, it's the right 3. They probably could have gone with 2 and probably still got like Harrison Bryant back or Kylan Granson back. Either way, they would have ended up with something similar. The real question is what happens if Goddard goes down, because neither of these tight ends can do what he does. The running game will suffer if he goes out. And I would think that it's a position they're probably still looking at. Like Howie stressed today, this isn't what's going to be going into the game next Thursday. They're still looking.
Ryan, who would you rather have, Kylan Granson or Jack Stoll?
Oh, jeez. You are a jerk. I guess I'll say, oh man. Yeah, I guess I'll have to say Jack Stoll.
Nice. Daniel chimes in saying the best UDFA from Howie was TJ Edwards.
He was my number 3.
It's Reed Blankenship.
He might be.
Reed was my number 4.
We'll just go to tackle. Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, of course. Fred Johnson, really excited about because he was so underrated in 2024. But Cameron Williams making the roster. That was a bit of a surprise. David?
Go!
Yeah, I'm happy he made it. I kept putting him on my 53 as well. Just he's too talented to get exposed on the waiver wire. They would have lost him. They know it.
Yeah.
He's the big kind of body that has the potential to be Lane's successor in the future. He brings that type of potential, and you just don't let that walk out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shock. Like, we didn't really talk about him much. I feel like most of our conversation was about Miles Hinton, being a step or two too slow in the preseason games. But Cameron Williams kind of went a little under the radar. I agree, David. I think his upside is terrific down the line. Ryan, any thoughts?
Yeah. Listen, I like what they've done here. Starting with keeping Cameron Williams. Obviously a lot of people were kind of rooting on Alan Pierce. Miles Hinton, again, obviously he kicked inside. But they wanted something they were comfortable with, and they went out and got back Fred. And the fact that they're that confident, they're willing to trade a pick for him, shows a lot of faith in him. And I feel a lot better about should any of these guys go down. Now, the interior guys, Brett Toth certainly has some experience. Pat Pryor, again, I think that's what they were going for. Trevor Keegan is more of the guy who can kind of hopefully develop. And then Drew Kendall. I thought he did plenty to secure himself. Not that there was a lot of, willing participants to be backup center.
Yeah, let's go straight inside. I'm really worried about the depth here. I don't know what the heck Trevor Keegan is right now, at least not yet. Matt Pryor is okay. I think Drew Kendall will probably be the left guard there over Brett Toth. And I think Drew Kendall could have an underrated part in this season, filling in multiple spots. David?
I think Toth is on here just because of the Dickerson injury. He's a vested veteran who you could get back on the practice squad as they've done year after year after year. I think the same with Keegan. If they're going to add to another position, and they are because they obviously have to get a long snapper, I would look at guard. Keegan or Toth are probably the guy who's probably getting pushed off the team.
Yeah.
I like it. J-Rock says, thought they'd go with 2, honestly. I don't see the point in rostering Grants, and I agree. And then I think this is Cameron Williams, rawer than steak tartare. Literally raw. All right, anyway, let's scroll down to Anthony DeBona's defense, leading off with Edge, Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Josh Uche, Aziz Ojolari, and David Ogbo. I can't even pronounce that. Who's that?
Okoronkwo.
Okoronkwo, yeah.
He's the surprise. I mean, I thought APR would probably get the spot just because they drafted him, just because, he's at risk of waivers, probably will get selected. But again, that's the maturation of Howie Roseman, like I mentioned earlier. You whiff on a late round pick, especially, so be it. You keep what's best for the team now. And I think that the edge that he had is that the other 4 in that room are 26 and younger. Some of them significantly younger. He's 30 years old. He's the veteran voice in the room, and you kind of need that. And he played well, as too. I don't want to take that away from him. So he earned the spot. But I would also say, of all the spots on defense, I know a lot of people looking at corner. I think they're looking at edge. They're unquestionably would like to add to that room.
I fully agree with that. Adding to that rotation, especially if Jalix Hunt gets dinged up, that's a big concern. Ryan, any thoughts on the edge group?
Yeah, listen, I thought they would actually keep 6. I thought APR did enough as a guy that again, you can kind of slowly bring along, and they obviously feel like they're that they're going to be able to bring him back onto the practice squad. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have exposed him. But I also thought maybe Patrick Johnson, might have a shot. I thought he played rather well. And again, as somebody actually said in the chat, I think it was J-Rock here, but he's been great on special teams.
I agree.
So I'm kind of, the edge.
He's another vested veteran, though. They may have already have a wink and a handshake that he's back on this thing in 48 hours.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, again, things can certainly change.
He can't be exposed to waivers, so
yeah,
it's a safe cut, so to speak.
Yeah, no, agreed. So, but still,
he earned a spot. I agree.
Yeah, this was definitely the position that I was just like, oh, okay,
yeah,
all right.
Then we get to defensive tackle. I think this was pretty chalk. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Ojomo, Ty Robinson, Gabe Hall, Byron. I'm not actually somewhat maybe way too confident in this group. I think I don't know why. Maybe I'm biased, but I think the depth, Davis, Ojomo, Robinson, Hall, even Byron Young, I think all have upside, big time upside. David, what are your thoughts on the defensive tackle group?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, they had to go a little heavier here. I know they went 6 on the initial 53 last year, but that's not really what they rolled with throughout the year. But when you don't have guys who have proven snaps, Jomo is going to be forced to take double what he did in the past. Robinson's a rookie. You don't know what you're going to get health-wise from Young. You don't know how many snaps Hall is going to be able to take. So you had to have a heavy rotation, and that's what they did. So it's, perfect roster construction there, in my opinion.
Yep. Ryan?
Yeah, no, this is exactly how I had it as well. I think Gabe Hall and Byron Young are certainly young guys that'll, you can kind of inch themselves along into getting some playing time. And I think Ty Robinson, while yes, he's, just as young, I think he's just such a force that you have to get him in there, get him the experience. Whereas, again, the main three there will be taking 99% of the snaps probably.
The Eagles' identity on defense will be defined by this group. I really believe that.
Yeah, very possible.
You look at how much money the Eagles are going to be spending for the foreseeable future with so many big players. Jomo, day 3 pick. Jalix Hunt, round 3. Ty Robinson, day 3. Gabe Hall, undrafted. Byron Young, they need to hit on all these guys. Not hit on all these guys, but I feel like this could be the identity of the Eagles defense. Having guys that can just turn out year after year after year next to Jalen Carter. And I feel like they're really close to doing that. I think Ajomo is the breakout star of 2025. I think Ty Robinson's really good. I don't know. I'm weirdly confident in this group. Let's go to the linebacker. Nakobe Dean on the PUP list. We've got Zach Bond, Trot Jr., Jahad Campbell, and Smile Munden Jr. Munden was a up and down player this offseason and preseason. Ryan, any thoughts?
Yeah, this is exactly how I had it. I thought Munden, while slowly he started coming along there towards the middle of training camp and those last couple of games. I thought he did enough, and considering the need at linebacker, knowing that Dean would be on the PUP list, which also, by the way, I love the fact that Dean basically already said, see you guys in week 5. So he's obviously very, very confident that he'll be ready to go by then. And we'll see exactly how this team looks at that point, and more importantly, how Jahad Campbell looks. That'll certainly be dependent on how much playing time Dean gets when he first comes back.
David?
Yeah, these were the only 4 that ever made sense that were going to make the roster. Ryan nailed it.
Yep.
All right, let's roll on to cornerback. Quinion, of course, Adoree Jackson, Keely Ringo, Jacorian Bennett. You've also got Cooper DeJean and Mac McWilliams. David, what's your reaction on corner? Eli Ricks is gone. Go ahead.
This is the exact 6 I picked. I mean, basically, the only thing on defense that I didn't have that wasn't complete chalk to me was just Okoronkwo and APR. Literally everything else was from here on out exactly what, I would think most people had. I don't know what other corner you'd have there. Eli could have pushed somebody, but Adoree just has a higher floor at this point, which is probably why they'll stick him out there week 1, with the hope that Jacorian Bennett probably eventually takes over the job. But, I mean, they had nowhere else to go at this position, in my opinion.
Is this a statement that Adoree is the starter? Is that the general consensus?
For 1 week, I would think. I mean, Bennett came so late in camp. It's hard to acclimate yourself that quickly. Yeah. So, and for those who were hating on Ringo, I would say that Howie Roseman effusively praised him. He sought that out after this 53-man roster was introduced.
Yeah.
So he said he's one of the top special teams player in the league, and that, he's not going anywhere. So they still have a lot of hope on him. That being said, he could trade him tomorrow for a 4th. Who knows?
Yeah, I got grilled because I called Adoree Jackson the starter next to Q months ago, right after they signed him. I thought, and I'm not the highest on Keely, but I'm not going to give myself a pat on the back because I'm not sold on him whatsoever after the preseason. Ryan?
Yeah, listen, I think you calling that would feel a lot better if if Adoree actually went out there and absolutely took that job. Um, this kind of feels like he was just the biggest loser, winner. You know what I mean? Like he just kind of backed himself into this job just because Keeley just kind of fell off the face of the earth, and Jacorian just again has not been here long enough, and we all know. And we've all seen it that sometimes Vic Fangio defense can take some time to learn. So again, just like David said earlier, Okonkwo was the only guy that kind of was the only difference that I had so far for this defense.
Yep, and then you get Cooper DeJean listed as nickel. Mac McWilliams,
love that.
A lot of snaps at outside cornerback. Going to be really fun to watch how this group is interchanged in different spots, outside, inside, safety. And let's roll on to safety. Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, Tristan McCollum, and Drew Makuba. Not a lot of surprise there.
No.
Per DeBona, my man has Sidney Brown next to Reed Blankenship, but Drew Makuba is going to get more and more snaps as the season progresses, without question. David, any thoughts on this group?
Yeah, same four, and I agree. Makuba is going to be the starter. I don't think that's going to be that much of a question. The only question is if he can hold up. It's his size, it's his weight. Can he put on some pounds? Can he take the punishment of an NFL season? That's literally the only question mark.
Right.
Yeah, I think Sidney Brown certainly could be the starter week one, just given the few nagging injuries that Makuba is dealing with right now. That might just be what we have to deal with, but I don't think it's going to be very long, if not for week two, where Drew Makuba will be slotted into that space.
Yep. Daniel chimes in saying, for the cornerbacks, I'm excited to see Fangio actually scheme them up. It's been a while.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a lot of it throughout the preseason, rightfully so. Why would you? I'm really curious to see which cornerback replaces Adoree around week 4 or so. The hope is it is Keely Ringo, because he doesn't have a lot of versatility like the defensive backs that are on this roster. So
Still time for a trade.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely up in the air.
I'm sure somebody got released today that would be, an upgrade over somebody.
Yep. And then we get to special teams. Any thoughts on special teams? I don't really have any thoughts.
So they let go of Hewlett, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was surprising. They obviously are going to have to bring somebody in. So
I suspect it's probably him, another guy who's a veteran. You could do this, just play roster gymnastics for 24 hours.
True.
And, they've already IR'd Miles Hinton. Keely Ringo's been having a little injury problem. He could be a candidate for a short time IR as well. They're definitely going to do that. You just couldn't do it first. So
yeah,
he'll be back.
Yep. J-Rock says, given it was week 4 before Cooper was put in the starting lineup, I'm betting Makuba doesn't start until week 4. It doesn't really matter who starts. I don't think Cooper didn't play at all until after the bye, correct?
No, yeah, that's because he was dealing with some
he was hurt.
Injuries. So.
Yeah, he didn't practice all camp. Makuba has. It's a little different.
I guarantee you, if Makuba is starting to make plays, he will have way more snaps than Sidney Brown.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you obviously saw it.
Like, let's be real. He's going to hurt himself within the first 10 snaps anyway, Sidney Brown. God damn. It's true. Come on, it's true. Come on. He's going to run into his own player and then poor him.
Or he's going to go flying off the screen and hit a linesman or something.
Yep. All right, so there is the Eagles 53-man roster. Daniel chimes in. IR musical chairs is how you know the season has truly begun. Absolutely love it. We are going to play a game. We're going to compare the Eagles 53-man roster from 2024 to 2025. And we're going to say who did it better. Which is crazy to say. The Eagles just had one of the best seasons of all time. But we're going to keep it real. we're going to try and be respectfully honest to our initial takes. Because I had some takes that were dead wrong at the start of 2024.
Sure.
And that's where we're going to start. So we're going to start at quarterback. The Eagles in 2024 had Jalen Hurts, Kenny Pickett, and Tanner McKee. This year, they have Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee, and Sam Howell. David, who had the better quarterback room?
5, and for no other reason because Tanner McKee is a proven commodity now, and Sam Howell can win a game for you, and that's a really good 3. That's a really good quarterback room.
Ryan?
How am I to judge this? Am I to judge this of how I felt after the initial 53, how excited I was, or what?
What do you think? Like in terms of how they were heading into the season.
I was
so excited for this question, just given.
I know you were, and listen, you know me a little too well. I was so excited about Kenny Pickett. I was. This was the first time that I can remember that we actually had a quarterback that I truly felt that if, God forbid, something went wrong, that he could easily come in, and he's won games on a good team before. I thought, sure, he could easily do that again. Now, granted, I can certainly admit that Tanner McKee has finally, grown into a caliber of quarterback that I wouldn't mind being out on the field. And Sam Howell certainly has, some experience and winning games. So I think as a whole, I was very excited about Pickett, but I was very down on McKee because, again, he only showed, against third stringers. So I'll say 2025 because I think through and through, I feel better about the 3 this year than I do last year.
It's 100% 2025. It's not even close. I think Tanner McKee is the real deal. I think you're going to get a first or second round pick for Tanner McKee in about 9 months, and there's a reason why.
Are you gonna cry when that happens, or
no? I will not at all.
Okay,
that's how this is supposed. That's how you build roster, man. That's how you construct a Super Bowl.
I just meant
roster
because you love Tanner McKee so much.
I've been a Tanner. He was literally one of my guys during our draft show, if you remember. Going back years ago, he was one of my guys. Check the show. It's 2025. No doubt about it. Let's go to some comments. B chimes in. They'll put the long snapper on the practice squad, bring him up as active for the first 4 weeks.
It's certainly possible.
J-Rock has a really good question. Which safety hurts himself first, Crash Brown or Makuba? And while I would love to see Sidney Brown, I'm a little worried about the soft tissue issues with Makuba. It is what it is. It's any thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm not concerned with Makuba that much as others. He's put on 10 to 13 pounds since, signing with the Eagles. I think he can keep bulking up. It's just going to be, can he sustain the whole season? And we've already seen that Brown struggles doing that. So you might as well roll the dice with Makuba.
All right, running to running back. Let's go 2024. Saquon, Kenneth Gainwell, Will Shipley, and then we also had for 2025, Saquon, Will, AJ, and I guess I'll throw in BBS there as well. Ryan, which group was better?
Easy 2025.
David?
I'm going 2024 because I trusted Gainwell a lot more than Ryan did, and I still have concerns about AJ Dillon's health.
I think
Come on.
I think Kenny Gainwell was underrated, man.
I agree.
I don't know Will Shipley and AJ Dillon are ready to take that role. If you go back, Kenny Gainwell had some big moments, and whether that was on
pass pro.
Pass pro, third downs. He made a lot of conversions. I think the Eagles are banking on Will Shipley to be that guy, obviously, but I'm going to go 2024. Let's go to wide receiver in 2024. AJ, Devontae, Jahan Dotson. They also had Johnny Wilson and Covey. And then obviously in 2025, Brown, Smith, Dotson, Mechie, and Cooper. David.
I love the 2025 wide receiver group. It's definitely them. Covey was uninspiring. I know why they kept him because of the whole punt returner thing, but I think that's a reason you don't see Smith on this roster. They've learned from that. Dotson, with another year under his belt, is going to be significantly better.
Ryan?
Yeah, it's easy, 2025. I mean, the depth. You actually have guys in here that, you want to see out there, and not where last year where you were praying to God you didn't see them out there. So,
all right, rolling on to tight end. I don't have anything to add to that. Tight end, obviously, last year we had Dallas Goedert and Grant Calcaterra. This year, Goddard, Calcaterra, and Granson. Ryan?
Oh, God.
I'm more worried.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtual Coffee Machines. Ready to enjoy the bold flavors of barista-quality Nespresso iced coffee at home? Simply fill a glass with ice and press the brew button on your virtual pop machine to enjoy rich double espressos roasted to stand up even when chilled. Refreshingly bold iced coffee. Refreshingly easy to make at home. Visit Nespresso.com to shop now.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Good night, itchy eyes. Good night, sudden sneeze. Good night to your symptoms of allergies. Xyzal is the allergy medicine you take before bed. It provides powerful relief while you rest your head. Not just all night, but all the next day. Xyzal keeps working, keeping allergies at bay. And without those annoying symptoms disturbing your rest, you can wake up the next morning feeling your absolute best. Remember, be wise all. Take Xyzal. At night.
Mamá, papá, mi cuerpo crece a un ritmo alarmante y la ropa que me compren ahora me quedará muy pequeña muy pronto. Pero su billetera no tiene que sufrir por la moda con los precios bajos de la vuelta a clases de Amazon. Amazon, gasta menos, sonríe más.
I don't know, even?
Is it a push?
Push?
David?
I'm going 2024. I actually had more. I hadn't lost faith and Grant at that time, and I liked the fact it was 2 versus 3. I liked saving the roster spot at the time. So, yeah, 24.
I'm going to go 2024. I was more confident in Goddard back then, and that's not that's not disrespect to Goddard. I just am exponentially worried about the 2025 tight end group going forward. Does that make sense?
Yes.
This is the one position that I don't have a plan for, whereas I think Howie absolutely crushed many other positions. For the tight end group, I don't know what the hell they do here. So
he just couldn't find a replacement for Goddard. What it comes down to. He didn't want a whole bunch of pass catchers. He wanted somebody who could, excel in the run game like Goddard does, and they're few and far between.
Yeah.
Trade for Mike Mayer in this misery.
Yeah. All right, 2024 it is. Let's go to O-line. Last year, you had Mailata, Dickerson, Jurgens, Becton, Lane Johnson. You also had Fred Johnson, Keegan, Tyler Steen, and Darren Kennard. Ryan, was O-line better last year or this year?
Oof.
I think a lot of this is Fred Johnson and the confidence he brings as a swing tackle.
I guess he's. I feel. I mean, he's on both squads, right? Yeah, I guess just seeing those, I feel. Oh man, I don't know. This is tough because I think I might have been more confident about the 2024 because I felt better about Becton. I think that's the swing for me. Is I was feeling better about Becton than I do Steen, and again, I think mostly it's only because Steen has had every opportunity to win this job so many freaking times. And now when he finally has zero competition is when he wins the job, you know? I'm not saying that he won't be able to. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve to be in the spot. I'm just saying.
David?
I like this year's more going into the season. I thought Becton was a project. I mean, in hindsight, obviously it worked out well, but I didn't know that then. Cam Jurgens taking over at center full time. I just think there was more question marks in 2024. Put mine at 25. I like 2025 way better than 24.
That's where I was going to. Like, Jurgens is a big piece of this. Like,
Yeah.
I have zero concerns about Cam Jurgens. But I do think Becton was a question mark at the time, especially in pass pro. And you go forward. I'm actually really high on Drew Kendall. I think he can be a piece for sure. I didn't know what Fred Johnson was, but I do know what he is in 2025. I think he's really solid. I think he's really, really solid. I'm going 2025.
Man, I am just getting outvoted here.
Let's go to defensive line. We'll do all of it. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams. You had Marlon Tui Pelodu and Thomas Booker as backups at defensive tackle. You also had Josh Sweat, Bryce Huff, Brandon Graham, Patrick Johnson. They had a lot of defensive linemen there for the defensive line. David, what were your thoughts on the defensive line?
Easy 2024 for me. There are just so many more question marks heading into this season.
Yep. Yeah, oh yeah. It's 2024 for sure.
Not even close. 2024 it is. Doesn't mean I'm not excited for a lot of the defensive tackles, but there are so many question marks when it comes to snap count and things like that. I am just not sold on Josh Uche or Aziz Ojulari in their respective roles and things like that. We have a comment from Adam. Do you guys think Dickerson will play against the Cowboys? Anybody have thoughts?
No, I do not.
Yeah.
Doubtful.
B says defensive line 2024. J-Rock says love the D-line in 2025. Oh, but 2024.
He loves the youth, basically.
I agree. Wait a minute, combined, still 2024, but I feel that's where I'm at too. I'm more concerned about edge than I am defensive tackle for sure.
And also remember, this is our initial thought after the initial 53. How confident or how we felt about them, not knowing that Saquon would be, 2,000-yard rusher. We can't just automatically say, oh, well, obviously the 2024, O-line.
J-Rock says it's Landon Dickerson. Of course he will be ready. He's crazy. All right, let's roll on to linebacker and shout out to my man Rob Lange because Devin White was on the initial.
No, didn't he get cut?
Yeah, I thought he was cut. I don't know. But that also included Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, Trot Jr., Ben Van Sumeren was listed as a linebacker.
There was.
As part of that. This year, Bond, Campbell, Trot Jr., Smile Munden, 2025 by a landslide. It's not even close, Ryan.
Yeah, it's 2025 by a landslide just because we now, we were hopeful for Zach Bond and David certainly more so than most. But now that we saw exactly what happened, and it's an easy win.
That might have been one of the greatest calls of all time, David. When we
Yeah.
go back to when we're 20 years from now and we're old and we're sipping whiskey.
Remember that time
Remember that time David called Zach Bond a star? Not necessarily a star, but I think it was over 8 sacks or some shit.
Yeah. I just thought he would be a really good fit in that defense. But yeah, I mean, I had high expectations, but not that damn high. Seeing an all-pro, yeah. Going into this season, it's 2025, like y'all said, by a landslide. I mean, last year there were a lot of question marks. Hell, even Nakobe Dean, you're confident with now. You've seen what he can do when healthy. I mean, those two, they were the number 1 and 2 linebackers for multiple weeks last year. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it became a strength, and then you just added Jahad Campbell. I mean, it's unbelievable. It is now a position of strength. I mean, that's just crazy. 2 years ago, we cried about this position on a weekly basis.
And for decades prior, too.
Nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And I cannot wait for Campbell. I truly think he's going to have some games where he's just a game wrecker. And has 2 sacks and a forced fumble and just all over the place. Let's go to cornerback. In 2024, you had D. Slay, Q, who was, obviously a first-round pick, but somewhat of an unknown in terms of, catching up with the speed of the NFL. You also had Isaiah Rodgers, Keely Ringo, Cooper DeJean. DeJean was hurt throughout the offseason and preseason. Ryan, where are you at with the cornerback group?
This is tough because it's basically how do you look at it? Yes, we were confident about Q. We had Slay. We knew what we had in Slay. We had a CB1. We were hopeful that Q could be that CB2. We were hopeful that DeJean would be the nickel. But yeah, I don't know. Now that we've seen a year in them and we know how great that they are, now our concern is CB2. So there's a little bit of a balancing act. I guess I'll say 2025, but only by a slight bit.
All right, 2025 for Ryan. What about you, David?
I was more confident in 2024. If for no other reason, it wasn't even just Quinyon Mitchell, who I had as my favorite player in that draft. I was just stunned when we got the guy, but it was also Isaiah Rodgers.
Thank you. Yes.
And I mean, I was very confident in him. And last year we had, like Ryan mentioned, CB1 was locked up. Slay. I just felt good with that trio more than I do this year. And if nothing else, Rodgers and Quinyon were taking over Bradbury. It was going to be freaking better.
Maybe you guys were just more confident in Isaiah Rodgers. I know what he was capable of doing it, but again, being off for a year, it was a lot of what ifs.
Yeah, I just don't know who CB2 is right now, and I don't think they do either. I mean, it's a revolving door.
They 100%. They know he's probably not on the roster.
That's a big part of this projection too, because as much as the Eagles left their cornerbacks on an island, that's going to change in 2025. I feel like this is on Vic as well to adjust.
Listen, it's an easy fix. You send Q, you say, hey, there's their number 1. Go handle that guy. Hey, CB2, whoever the hell you are, we're going to give you some safety help, and the 2 of you guys can handle the other guy. All right? That's all you got to do. Bing, bang, boom, problem solved.
I disagree, Ryan. The Isaiah Rodgers miss really hurts in this one. If we had Isaiah Rodgers, I'd feel a lot better.
Maybe. I just wasn't that. I wasn't confident in him at all because, again,
that's fair.
He hadn't shown it.
What's wild is he left the Eagles essentially. I mean, they paid a little more money, but essentially because he didn't see a path to CB2 on the roster. And then, as it's turned out, he would have been CB2.
Sure would have been. Easy.
in one of the most hilarious situations. Like, we literally planned this show as soon as we went live, probably about an hour ago. We are 50-50 between 2024 and 2025.
Wow. I hadn't even looked at that.
Goodness.
This is awesome. So
this safety's the push?
The safety is the push between which initial 53-man roster did it better. Howie, I hope you're watching. Let's start with safety. 2024, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship. You also had some Avonte Maddox, James Bradbury, and Tristan McCollum. Obviously, 2025, Reed, Sidney, Makuba, and McCollum. David, lead us off.
God, I hate you. This probably for me is the hardest one to judge because the excitement of Makuba, who all through the draft process, I just thought was the perfect player to get. But you haven't done it yet in the NFL. So I have to go back to how freaking excited I was to get CJ back last year. So 2024.
Ryan?
Yeah, that was honestly, you literally took the words out of my mouth. That was the deciding factor, is how excited I was to get C.J. Gardner-Johnson back. And while I am a huge fan of Makuba and have followed his career since, the early days in Clemson, and super excited that we got him, you're right. He has not done it. And Reed Blankenship is our number one safety right now. Last year, C.J. Gardner-Johnson was, and Reed was the number two. So just that alone, I think, has to be 2024.
I fully agree. It's 2024. If Makuba didn't show some injury concerns, maybe there would be a different narrative. But if you're a vibesman, the toughness and the physicality that CJ brought, there's definitely concerns. And that means the 2024 initial 53-man roster beats out 2025 by just the narrowest of margins, which is really crazy to me. It's amazing. All right, let's go to some comments quick. I'm going to try and catch up. Tech says David is better than Howie.
Oh, wow.
Daniel says if linebacker can be great, one day we'll have a great tight end.
That's the only thing that I got left.
I love this comment. That's a great comment.
The best comment ever.
I just don't know what the plan is there. Goddard is great around 12 games a year.
Yep.
Whoops. One thing about Goddard is when he comes back, he's solid and picks up where he left off, as he did in 2024. His injuries don't linger. I don't know about y'all, but I remember being worried about Avonte Maddox. Agreed.
Sure.
Totally agree. Travis chimes in about Badbury.
Yep.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about Bruno.
They know who CB2 is. They just aren't happy about it. Probably true. B agrees. Safety 2024. And then Travis chimes in. David, do you think getting rid of CJ was a mistake?
On the playing field, probably, but he just wasn't meshing with the coaches. Yeah. And in turn, after he won the Super Bowl, he wanted a little bit more money, and that just wasn't going to fly with this organization. So coupled with money and coupled with, some locker room issues with maybe the coach, maybe, a difference in opinion with some of the coaches more so than the players, I think was the last straw with him. Yeah. They tried it again. They got rid of him the first time for similar reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, you said it perfectly. Yes, on the field, sure. But, this team is more than just the product they put on the field. Howie understands that it takes everything. It takes a meshing of coaches, players, and everything in between for it to work. And one bad apple will absolutely take down an organization. Yep. You see it all over the league where organizations that are run terribly and they just allow ridiculousness things to happen. That's why they're always a hot mess every year. That's why these teams are where they are and where the Eagles are where they are.
Amen. All right. that wraps up Birds of the Round Table. David, any final thoughts on the initial 53? Steaming into Cowboys week. Plugs, time's yours, man.
The one thing that I would like to have asked is, what was your expectation of winning a Super Bowl this time last year? Like, did you think that, like, are you more believing that they can repeat, or were you more sure that they had a shot at it last season?
I was pretty confident heading in. I thought they could make a run. I don't know if Super Bowl really ever kind of crossed my mind. I didn't think they was just there yet. I think there was a lot of things that certainly had to happen, and I didn't expect the jump to happen. And especially after those first 4 games, my God, I certainly was even less then. Heading now, seeing that they were, the last Super Bowl, the way that team was built versus the way this team was built is completely different. And I feel like they are built now more than ever before to have continued success and to continuously fight for Super Bowls, because they have allocated their salary cap efficiently. They are working on players on rookie deals, and they're hitting on draft picks more so than they ever have. So I think from top to bottom, this is a completely different team in the way it is built. And I feel so damn confident that if somebody was to come up to me right now and tell me otherwise, they might get a little back of the hand. You know what I mean? Let's go. You want to fight about it? Let's go.
Oh my God.
It's always violence.
Oh my God. If I had to answer that question, of course I would go the political route and say none of it has to deal with on the field. Because when you look at 2023 into 2024 and now into 2025, I mean, the culture and, like Ryan said, top to bottom has unequivocally has changed so much when it comes to the culture, when it comes to the coach solidifying himself, when it comes to the coordinators with Vic Fangio. There's a legit discussion whether or not Vic Fangio could be in Jim Johnson territory in a few years, which is absolutely crazy talk to me as a Jim Johnson guy. And then you get to, Jalen Hurts changing the narrative significantly. And his projection going forward is not sorry. I need to go to bed. So anyway, long story short, everything off the field, from coordinators to the coaching staff to building this roster for the foreseeable future, is really exciting. It's really exciting.
It's the opposite of 2017 going into 2018. That was like aging players, and you just didn't know what you had. Even the quarterback position. Is Wentz going to come back? Is Foles going to keep the job? This is the most solidified I have ever remembered. Like y'all said, the culture, everyone's at the top of their game. Sirianni, best he's ever been. Howie Roseman, best he's ever been. Jalen, best he's ever been. I mean, it's a really good time, and it probably won't last as long as we all hope. But for the foreseeable future, we definitely have a few years here.
Yeah, that's the take. Enjoy this, guys. This isn't the end of a championship window. This is the start of the building of a great roster. So I can't wait to share it with you guys going forward this season. We're going to have post games, reactions, all types of stuff. It's going to be so much fun. Guys, make sure you lock it down to Eagles pin pull. I'm going to try and get to some quick comments because we are way behind. Krabby says, I kind of think we had to go. Yeah. Who was before selling?
It was
Chad Lewis.
Chad Lewis, yeah. Yeah. They've always, somebody said it earlier, they've always had good tight ends since Andy Reid. And I think kind of, they've seemed to just kind of go away from wanting that next great tight end. But I don't know. They got to find somebody because Goddard isn't going to last that much longer.
Howie says he's always talking about character. Absolutely agree. Krabby says, I've said this before, but it's true. I've waited 66 years for this team. Just the all-22, watching the youth on defense grow every single week is something I cannot truly express how excited I am. Travis says, I'm excited that most of our roster is young guys and some of them could actually take a step forward. That's what is so exciting. They're doing it right.
I think there's only 6 people over 30. I think there was only 6, like 11% of the roster. It's and contrast to the Commanders, like 34% of the roster is over 30.
Yeah.
I mean,
20,
which is where we
25.
were in 17.
Yeah, 25.49 is the average age of this team. That's insane.
That's why this is more sustainable than any other decade that they've ever had this type of success.
And especially given how many picks they have, especially with a Tanner McKee trade on the horizon. Make sure you watch it. Ryan and I for Armchair Scouts talking about the 2026 NFL Draft. J-Rock says win another Super Bowl and the Eagles get into dynasty conversation. Ryan, final thoughts on this as we steam into week 1.
Yeah, hey, we made it. We made it. Our next show is our preview show of the first game of the year. I cannot absolutely wait, not only to talk about it, but I cannot wait to be down there and getting, oh my God. I want to pack my car right now, get ready to head down there to tailgate.
See the banner?
Yeah, exactly. I cannot wait. So, yeah, it's going to be a great, great and beautiful, beautiful evening. I took off Thursday and Friday, so it's going to be just riding into the weekend on a nice first game win high. Let's go.
Love it. All right, guys. Thank you everyone for watching. Like this video if you want another Eagles Super Bowl. One last time, here's David at PHL Eagle News, one of the best Eagles followers there is, period. There's Ryan, not a great Eagles follow, at PHL.
Oh!
Ryan Dives, Mr. Crackpot. Thank you everyone for watching. Go Birds. Stay off.
Messed up.